8 explanations for why Sigma men separate from women. Ever ponder why, amid the vast mosaic of personalities, Sigma men, often seen as the lone wolves of society, tend to distance themselves from women? Men in Sigma roles are like the mysterious thread weaving its own way. They are the quiet watchers, the lone wanderers, and the ones who march to the beat of their own drum. They belong to a different breed and are in a different category altogether. They are not your normal alpha or beta men. The introverted and self-reliant traits that characterize Sigma guys include their valuing of independence, solitude, and freedom. Above all else, they are at ease in their own skin and in their own company. They don't feel the need to seek validation or approval from others. And they're content to live on the periphery away from the bustle of societal norms and expectations. However, despite their seemingly aloof demeanor, Sigma males are not emotionless or incapable of forming meaningful connections. Rather, they're simply selective in choosing where to spend their time and energy. They don't engage in frivolous relationships or shallow interactions. Instead, they seek depth, authenticity, and substance in their relationships. However, Sigma guys are sometimes misinterpreted, and misjudged. They are characterized as being aloof, remote, or indifferent, but the truth is far more nuanced. They just operate on a frequency that many others may find difficult to understand. In the next portions, they will discuss how their detachment from women is not the result of scorn or disinterest but rather a deep sense of self-awareness and self-preservation. They are not fleeing relationships, but rather traveling along a road of self-discovery, self-improvement, and self-fulfillment. We'll go deeper into the minds of Sigma men, illuminating their fascinating personalities and distinctive ways of living. We'll analyze the causes of their alienation from women, debunking myths and clearing up misunderstandings to give readers a clear picture of what it really means to be a Sigma man. Get ready for an engrossing voyage into the world of Sigma men, since comprehending them does not entail altering them but rather valuing and celebrating their distinctiveness. Let's examine the 8 factors that cause Sigma men to distance themselves from women. The primary cause. The first reason is that they are naturally inclined towards independence. It is deeply ingrained in their personalities to value independence above all else. Sigma males are the lone wolves of society, the mavericks who dance to the beat of their own drum. They are self-sufficient and self-reliant, seeking solace in their own company rather than seeking validation from others. This can occasionally lead to detachment from women as they prefer to remain unattached and free from obligations. Now, let's go a bit further. Consider a bird that is soaring far above the skies, at liberty to travel anywhere it pleases. This bird does not require a flock in order to feel whole or to survive. This is how a Sigma male functions. He values his independence and protects it fiercely, not wanting to be constrained by social norms or expectations. However, when it comes to relationships, the Sigma M's independence can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, his self-reliance and autonomy can be attractive, signaling strength and confidence. On the other hand, his desire for independence can occasionally translate into emotional detachment, making it difficult for him to form meaningful relationships. This does not imply that Sigma males are incapable of love or commitment. On the contrary, when they do decide to date, they do so wholeheartedly and will not compromise their independence in the process. Instead, they look for partners who respect and understand their need for solitude and who give them the space to be themselves in a world where we are always connected and in touch. The Sigma male's desire for independence can seem odd, even off-putting, and it is sometimes misinterpreted as disinterest or aloofness, but this is not the case. Rather, they are simply independent and crave solitude not because they despise others but rather because they value their independence can often be mistaken. Reason 2. Nonconformity aloofness. Secondly, Sigma males are nonconformists by nature. Imagine a person who isn't afraid to stand against the grain and who doesn't feel pressure to fit into the mold that society has cast. This person isn't swayed by the pressure to conform and be like everyone else to follow the same old path. That person is, my friends, a Sigma male. A Sigma male is a nonconformist in the truest sense of the word. This person lacks the need to adhere to societal norms, including those that concern traditional relationship structures. This person is a Sigma male. Being a Sigma male confers certain liberties, such as the ability to follow your own path, establish your own rules, and live life on your terms. This liberties naturally carries over into their relationships. Now, This is not to say that Sigma males are incapable of being in relationships. On the contrary, they are capable of loving, committing, and being as emotionally invested as anyone else. The key distinction is in their approach. They don't enter relationships because that's what society expects of them, nor do they stay in relationships because that's what they're supposed to do. Instead of doing so because of social pressure or convention, they prefer to be in relationships because they respect the person they are with. This nonconformity might cause one to become distant from women, particularly those who rigorously follow conventional relationship norms. A Sigma male's rejection of cultural norms might be interpreted as a rejection that causes a rift. But it's crucial to recognize that this rejection is of societal expectations rather than women. Sigma men appreciate originality, authenticity, and personal independence. They reject following the one-size-fits-all mentality and don't think living a life set by others is acceptable. All approaches recognize that every person is distinct and that every relationship is special. They understand that being nonconformist does not mean they are rejecting women. Rather, it means they are rejecting social norms, and this is ultimately what makes the nonconformist Sigma guys so attractive. Their introverted personality is the third reason, which is found in reason 3, introversion. Because they thrive in isolation, find solace in the quiet, and love their own company. Sigma guys are frequently introverted and value their alone time. This isn't to say that they're antisocial or despise people. Imagine a setting where there's a lively party going on, with people laughing, chatting, dancing, and having a fantastic time, but our Sigma guy would to go somewhere calmer, less chaotic. Solitude may often lead to a detachment from women. This is not to say that Sigma males can't or do not enjoy social interactions. On the contrary, they can and do. They value deep, meaningful conversations over shallow chit-chat and prefer to have a small circle of close friends over a large circle of acquaintances. But how does this introversion lead to the detachment from women? Well, it's not about disliking or avoiding women. Rather, it's more about the energy exchange. This guy is the one who would rather read a book or work on a personal project instead of striking up small talk. This is often misinterpreted by those who are more extroverted or who associate happiness with social interactions. Sigma males don't feel the need to constantly be in the company of others to feel fulfilled or happy. Social interactions, especially those with women, often require a lot of energy. Energy that Sigma males would rather conserve or invest in other areas of their lives. They could interpret the Sigma M's fondness for solitude as an indication of coldness or indifference, but that is untrue. Sigma guys do connect and develop connections, but they do it selectively. They value quality over quantity and would much rather be by themselves than with someone with whom they don't actually click. As a result, a Sigma male's introversion is not an indication of distaste for women, but rather a preference for solitude. If he withdraws from a woman, it's likely because he cherishes his alone time or didn't discover the connection he was looking for. Fourth, men in Sigma are. Reason 4. Self-sufficiency. Being self-sufficient is a distinguishing quality of Sigma males, and it frequently contributes to their detachment from relationships. However, what does it mean to be self-sufficient in the context of Sigma males? The capacity to support oneself without assistance from others is known as self-sufficiency. It involves taking care of one's own needs, whether they be psychological, financial, emotional, or material. When we describe Sigma guys as self-sufficient, we imply that they are able to satisfy their own needs and take care of their issues on their own. They find enjoyment and affirmation inside themselves rather than looking outside of themselves. This degree of self-sufficiency can occasionally be misinterpreted as aloofness or arrogance, but it's actually a sign of strength and self-confidence. Although Sigma guys are confident in their own skin and do not feel the need to rely on others for support, this does not imply that they are unable to build lasting relationships. Rather, Sigma males have a profound awareness of their strengths and weaknesses. To put it simply, they can and do so in the context of their relationships with women, meaning they are not dependent on these relationships for their pleasure or fulfillment. This self-sufficiency frequently results in alienation. Sigma men look for companions who enhance rather than complete them. They don't depend on their partners to fulfill their wants or to feel whole. They choose to be in partnerships rather than being forced to. Sometimes, a Sigma male's self-sufficiency can be difficult for their partners to grasp, which can leave them feeling underappreciated or unnecessary. But it's crucial to keep in mind that this is a sign of their independence rather than a rejection of friendship. Their self-sufficiency is not a sign of arrogance but rather of their ability to meet their own needs. They live by their own rules, depend on no one, and in doing so they carve out their own path in life. They value their independence and the ability to live life on their own terms. And this is often reflected in their approach to relationships. The fifth cause is rationale 5. Emotional steadiness of their temperament being able to withstand. The emotional upheaval that frequently accompanies society standards and expectations makes Sigma guys the epitome of emotional resilience. Due to their self-contained character and propensity to rely on their own resources, their inner world is a fortress impregnable by the whims and fancies of the outer world. This makes them emotionally stable. People don't look to other people for approval. People's opinions or cultural norms have no bearing on their sense of value. Because of their self-awareness and acceptance of who they are able to maintain emotional stability without relying on the approval or condemnation of others. They have emotional stability, which is frequently confused with emotional detachment, particularly in the context of interactions with women. They are confident in their identities, comfortable in their skin, and secure in their talents. Although Sigma males may come off as aloof or distant in their pursuit of independence and self-reliance, this apparent connection is a credit to their emotional intelligence rather than a reflection of their emotional capability. The emotional stability of Sigma males enables them to navigate these connections with maturity and understanding. They are not motivated by emotional impulsivity but rather by thoughtful consideration. The emotional stability of Sigma males is essentially a reflection of their strength of character. They are emotionally balanced not because they lack emotions but rather because they have mastered the art of managing them. They are not swayed by emotional turbulence but are anchored by their inner strength and resilience. Their ability to handle conflict and adversity is another way that their emotional stability is demonstrated. They are not easily perturbed by challenges or setbacks. Instead, they approach these situations with a calm and composed demeanor, using them as opportunities for growth and learning. Their emotional stability is an indication of their confidence rather than of emotional detachment. Sixth reason: selectivity. The sixth justification is their bias. Because they are not the kind to jump into relationships without giving them due thought, Sigma guys are renowned for their selectiveness. This unique feature represents their choice for quality over quantity, and it's a trait that may frequently lead to their distancing ourselves from women. Let's explore this fascinating relationship-related quality of Sigma men. Sigma men are unaffected by social pressures or expectations. They don't feel the need to be in a relationship because it's the norm or because they fear being alone. Instead, they seek out relationships that enrich their lives and provide opportunities for progression and depth. Their selectiveness is not limited to romantic relationships. It also permeates their friendships and professional relationships. They choose to surround themselves with people who respect their boundaries, understand their needs for independence and solitude, and challenge them both intellectually and emotionally. Their selectiveness can sometimes be mistaken for aloofness or disinterest, but in reality, it is a reflection of their high standards. They are not afraid to be alone if they can't find what they're looking for, and they are not afraid to walk away from relationships that don't live up to their expectations. But this selectiveness can also result in their detachment from women. A Sigma male will not hesitate to separate himself from a woman if he feels that she doesn't share his values or respect his need for solitude. This doesn't mean that they are afraid of intimacy or commitment. On the contrary, when they find someone who lives up to their high standards, they can form deeply meaningful relationships. It's important to keep in mind, though, that their selectiveness is not a sign of pickiness, but rather a sign of their high standards, and their high standards reflect their profound respect for themselves, their time, and their energy. It's an indication of their self-worth and their will to live life on their own terms. Their reason is the seventh justification. 7. Mysterious nature and the magnetic pull of my mysteries. It's like a seductive waltz that entices you in. But what happens if a Sigma man leads the dance? Male Sigmas possess a mysterious quality that can be both appealing and perplexing to others. It's as though they're perpetually veiled in a mist of mystery and intrigue, which only serves to heighten their allure. This mystery is an inherent aspect of their personality and the result of their introspective processes. It is not a ruse or a game of hide and seek that they are engaging in. Imagine a puzzle, a complicated labyrinth of ideas and thoughts that is a Sigma, as a result of their introspective character and self-reliance. That is an integral aspect of their personality. Men's minds are interesting places full of revelations and insights. But they can also be challenging to traverse and comprehend, which may occasionally result in a man being detached from women. You might wonder why this happens, and the answer is that men are enigmas who can be challenging to grasp. Their emotions and reasons are all concealed under heavy layers of reflection. They don't show their true colors or shout their goals from the rooftops. Instead, they play it close to the vest, and this may be confusing. Even upsetting to other people. The mystery that surrounds Sigma males can act as a wall or barrier that keeps others at bay. It's not that Sigma males are incapable of forming meaningful relationships, rather, it's just that their mysterious nature can make it difficult for others to truly understand them and to truly connect with them. Women in particular may find it difficult to connect with them on a deep emotional level. But here's the thing. This mystery, this enigma, is a monument to their complicated character rather than a symbol of secrecy or a mask they wear to conceal from the outside world. Without attempting to be secretive, Sigma men are introverted, thoughtful thinkers who frequently like the companionship of their own thoughts. Their mystery is not a symptom of concealment, but rather of their multifaceted nature. They are not attempting to be mysterious. The eighth and final justification is their ongoing quest for personal development. Sigma men are always striving to improve themselves. They are living examples of the adage, the only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Sigma men are committed to developing their abilities, sharpening their minds, and expanding their horizons. They eat a lot. In order to better comprehend the world and themselves, learners are always seeking information and insights. This never-ending pursuit of development calls for a full-time investment of time, energy, and attention. This quest for self-improvement frequently results in a Sigma M's isolation from females. It's not that they are emotionally distant or lack interest. Rather, Sigma males deliberately choose to put their own development ahead of sexual relationships. The road to self-improvement is frequently a lonely one, free from the responsibilities and diversions of a relationship. They value their independence and autonomy and do not want anything or anyone to take them off course. This does not imply that they are incapable of love or companionship, rather, it just means that their priorities are different and that they are not looking to other people for validation or approval. Male Sigmas have no problem stepping beyond of their comfort zones. Self-improvement is not about getting better. It's about evolving and transforming into the best version of oneself. They are not satisfied with stagnation or complacency. Instead, they are always pushing their boundaries and striving to reach new heights. Their pursuit of self-improvement is not a sign of selfishness but rather of their dedication to personal growth. They embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. They are not deterred by setbacks or failures. Instead, they see them as valuable lessons that can help them grow and improve to a Sigma male. Therefore, the next time you come across a Sigma guy who looks distant, keep in mind that it's not about you. Rather, it's about his quest for self-improvement and his unwavering desire to become the greatest version of himself. To summarize, a summary and conclusion, we have explored the 8 main factors that account for this particular characteristic of Sigma males. It is not a manifestation of their dislike for women, but rather one of their distinct traits and inclinations. Sigma males have a distinctive approach to relationships and frequently choose to keep distance from them. Initially, we discovered the core of their independence. Male Sigmas are lone wolves that flourish on their own and do not feel the need to depend on others. Otherwise, this independence is what frequently causes them to distance themselves from women in favor of their own autonomy. Next, we talked on above all else's nonconformity. Because Sigma guys don't follow social norms and instead forge their own paths. It might be challenging for them to have traditional relationships with women because they don't match the stereotypes of an alpha or beta man. We then discussed their introverted nature, discussing how introverts like Sigma males frequently need time alone to refuel, which can cause them to distance themselves from women, especially those who are more outgoing and socially active. We also touched on their self-sufficiency, discussing how these men can take care of themselves without assistance from others. Since they don't think a spouse is necessary to complete their life, their self-reliance frequently causes them to remain far from women. We also looked at their emotional stability. Another factor influencing their detachment is that Sigma guys are careful about who they invite into their lives. They are frequently emotionally robust and don't need emotional support from women. They value quality above quantity in relationships, which frequently causes them to distance themselves from women who don't fit their predetermined standards. The mysterious allure of Sigma men, which frequently leaves women captivated but also aloof because they are difficult to interpret and comprehend, was the sixth reason. Lastly, we discussed their dedication to self-improvement. Sigma men are constantly trying to improve themselves, which can occasionally cause them to put their own development ahead of their relationships. Knowing these causes can assist in our comprehension of the mystery that is the Sigma male.